What's going on, guys? Which car are we gonna take? We're taking the Porsche. Going to the gym right now. I really have to get out of the house. I feel like stuck sometimes if I don't start my day without getting out of the house. There's so much space in the Porsche. Let me show you what I got going on in the trunk. All of the cars need a slight oil change. I do all of my cars oil change around the same time, which is good, but then I end up using all of them around equally. Now it's time to do an oil change and kind of all of them have to do a change, so I gotta do a change on the Insight, the Cayenne, the Mazda 3 track car needs a good couple quarts of oil because of the incident, which we'll talk about, and the Speed 3, which is new, also needs oil. I'm trying something new. I have a few cars and they all kind of dominate my life right now, and a lot of the time I'm working on them and I'm not really filming them, and it's hard because the work that you got to do on the car is tricky, and then having to film adds another layer of complexity. So I'm trying to build this new habit where I film a little bit more regularly, and that's going to come to you in the form of these regular vlogs. In high school, created a couple vlogs and they were very cringy. When they're not public on YouTube, but they're unlisted so I can look at them, and it's pretty cringy, but it's also very beautiful. When I was a 14-year-old boy, I was documenting my days and my thoughts. It is difficult having 3 or 4 cars, I guess 4 cars, and I don't have a house or a driveway to put them in of my own. I've got a lot on my mind lately with the cars. The Mazda 3 track car got into an incident at the track, which requires rebuilding, and I've been chipping away at it. The track car lives at my mom's house in my mom's driveway. I go over to my mom's house every so often, and I'll probably make another video on that. We're driving in the Porsche Cayenne, and I wanted to make a update video. You know, 1.5 years later, 40,000 miles later, what went wrong, what I had to fix, what was good, what was bad. Comment down below if you want to see that video. I bought this car sight unseen and I drove it home 8 hours, and there have been some issues that I had to fix, but I did most of the work, I think all of the work myself, and it's been pretty easy to work on, to do the maintenance items that were required, but some of the stuff was a little bit more difficult and backbreaking. Now that my track car is out of commission, I've been driving around the Northeast states trying to source some car parts. I drove to Syracuse to pick up some car parts, and I drove down south to South Jersey, and since getting the parts I've been trying to put the pieces back together on the Mazda. I bought the Speed 3 back, so I purchased the Speed 3. I did a little modification and updates to it, just general maintenance items really, and then I sold it and I made a little bit of profit. I basically broke even on the car, and then the person I sold it to wanted to sell the car again after owning it for about a year, so I met up with him and I bought it back, and I'm happy about it. I got the Speed 3 back. I bought the Speed 3 the weekend before I got into the incident at track where I wrecked my car. So one Mazda 3 is wrecked, but I have the Speed 3, and I've been driving it a little bit. It's good, but it does need normal high mileage Mazda Speed 3 stuff. Like, its turbo seals are going bad for sure, so it's gonna need a rebuilt turbo. I'm gonna try to keep it as cheap as possible, so I'm probably just gonna go rebuilt stock turbo from CW Turbochargers. It is leaking exhaust fumes from the aftermarket exhaust system. That when I bought the car from the guy I sold it to most recently, he purchased a Cork Sport downpipe system that should hopefully resolve this exhaust smell. And outside of like car stuff and work stuff, there's always family drama going on. I'm not gonna get into it, but if you guys got family drama, you know what I'm talking about. It's just, I feel like sometimes I have to be the glue that holds the family together a little bit, because they don't have any conflict resolution skills and they live for this drama. I don't know, something about spiking your cortisol level. nevertheless, all of that stuff aside, in about 2 weeks, I have a trip to Hawaii. I'm going to Waikiki Beach, Oahu, Honolulu, Hawaii. I got suckered into a timeshare presentation, but it seemed like a good deal. It's like a relatively cheap, and all I have to do is a 2-hour sales presentation for a timeshare that I'm not interested in. Seems like a good deal to me. The regular Mazda 3 needs to be buttoned up and back together. And then the Porsche, you know, a coolant leak, an oil leak in the valley of the V of the Cayenne diesel. And I want to make a long form video. I have all the content, I just need to structure it. The Porsche Cayenne needed the EGR cooler to be deleted. That was a very long process. I ended up having to do the job 3 times. A big learning curve, and every single time that I had to redo it, I got even faster at disassembly. But I did the oil cooler reseal and all of that. I ended up having to replace the oil cooler. That was a couple thousand miles ago. I've driven maybe 1,000 or 2 since then, and it's been pretty good. The V of the engine has been bone dry. I'm almost at the gym now. I got 2 shots of espresso running through me. I'm feeling the buzz. Crush a back day, back in buys, go home, get some work done. Today is Friday, so first Friday of September. While I was walking to my car, I had an itch in like the center of my back, and I couldn't reach it. I got such a good pump that I couldn't bend my arm in the way to reach the itch. So that's a good thing and a bad thing. Later tonight, a buddy of mine is in the Poconos. I might drive out. I'm trying to buy a house this year or next year. I'm not really a big fan of what the interest rates look like and how houses have been coming up in value over the past few years, but I don't want to be waiting on the sidelines and wasting my time trying to find the right time to buy a house. It's starting to get to a point where there are too many pains with living at the apartment. Like, my apartment is real nice. My apartment is a great first apartment, and I've been there for almost 5 years now. You know, there are certain things that I don't have control over, like, damn, people are fucking crazy around here. Yeah, I also don't enjoy living around here because of just the amount of traffic and drivers. I live in Bloomfield, next to Montclair, next to Newark, next to the Parkway, and if you know anything about New Jersey, there's just a lot of traffic and a lot of bad drivers. I'm tired of leaving my cars on the street. I would like to have them off the street in a driveway, but it's expensive. You know, even if I threw $100,000 down, which is a 20% down payment on a $500,000 house, compared to how much I'm paying in rent right now, I'm paying $2,000 a month or so, which is $24,000 a year. So it's just not looking like a great time to buy. But at the same time, everyone's always been saying that it's not a great time to buy, and there is never a right time. You know, we are constantly printing more and more dollars. Here I am pulling up to my house. Here's a prime example. I got the Mazda Speed on the right. I got the Honda Insight to the left, pulling into my driveway. Oh, it's a big bump. Oh, eats up your front tire. My middle driveway spot and garage. It's 3 o'clock. I gotta do a little bit of work. I really like having a standing desk. It's just nice to have the option. So whenever I come back from the gym, I kind of like to be standing. Sitting hurts my back. Right now it is almost 7 o'clock, so we'll probably get there around 8 o'clock. Thank you. Let's see what we got over here. 37.76, yeah, I estimated it was gonna be 40. Some of this diesel treatment in there every other tank or so. This is why I like that I don't have to pump my gas in New Jersey, because the pumps are all nasty and covered in